In this video, we're going to talk about playing or running backing tracks in a click track in a live scenario from a multipad. Also doing your own personal ear monitoring, but also sending those tracks and the click track to the rest of the band, or to the front of house for them to play, whatever you need. This is kind of ideally at this point when you're doing all these things, everyone's on the in-ear system, and it's all you're just using like receiver packs that everybody's wearing. So you wouldn't exactly need this, but we're going to go through the scenario anyway. So much like with the video before, we're using the Strike Multipad with this Y split. I've got my backing tracks coming to my ears from the left side, so that's what the black is, and then the music backing tracks and everything coming to the right side. If I've got any extra loops on this or any samples, things I want to play, those will come into the right side also. And as explained in my video before, the way I set things up for file management, the format for that is I take the stereo image, I've imported in, and I do the split to mono. And that gives me 2 tracks here. So then I pan both of those to the right. My click track is panned all the way to the left. And then I record vocal cues, not for every group, but sometimes if I have the time to do it, I'll do it. I'll pan that left also. And then my main monitor feed, so instead of using a wedge, I tell front of house that I just need an XLR send instead of a wedge. Plug into my mix here, and then obviously give the hand cues with the monitor tech on what I need up in my ears. Or at this point I haven't mentioned it, but in my ears I like to have kick drum and the toms kind of up at the top, bass is a little bit below that, and then everything else just barely audible enough to know to hear any like cues if we're going to kind of go jam out on a part, or if someone has skipped a part, whatever, it's there. I don't need to have it blasted in my ears either. If you want to send the click track and the backing track to the band, the Xenyx 802 here allows me to, from here, I could use the FX knob and use the FX send. So if I put an instrument cable into here, plugged into a DI with an XLR going to the front of house board, that could be sent to the band. But that's one more step that I really need, because I can just get this 2-channel DI box. I've used this for a handful of years now. I've been really happy with it from Mackie. So it's got a left and a right. And so out of my multi-pad here, so this is the main out, right and left. And I write on the cables, which is the right and left, because once you kind of get, so say this is down on the ground, once that's kind of out of the way, you can kind of get confused on what cable is what. So it reduces that. And then I've labeled for the group I've worked with on their inputs, so it's easy when we're connecting to the snake that way. And so this allows the tracks and the click will get sent to front of house, or if the band has their own digital mixer with their own inputs, that'll line up with that. This is where, if the whole band, drummer included, was running on the wireless packs, and you've got the Behringer X Air app on your phone and do your own personal mixing that way, you don't need this. And so you wouldn't need this setup at all. You would just have the multi-pad with your instrument cables and DI there to send out. You can do everything from your phone, the less cables to drag around. But not everyone has that wireless capability. So if you were in a band scenario where everyone's still using wedges, or maybe like one person had, or a couple people in the band had their own personal transmitters, receivers for the wireless in-ear setup, using this and the 2-channel DI works just as well. And I mentioned it in the other video, but I'll do it with this. if you're not using backing tracks in all of the on all the songs, but you still want to have a click track prevalent, I still put a click track that I've made just in Pro Tools just by putting it in and then recording it on a different send and bouncing that. I can explain that later also if you need it. Then I just always load up a click here, so even if like a backing track fell out for some reason, something went wacky, I could stop the backing track and then just start the click so we're all sort of together. I usually have the backing tracks on yellow here. I make loops for between songs sometimes, so I'll put those there. And then the red on the left goes back one song, and then the green in the middle advances to the next song. That's kind of the format I use for every group I play with that uses the multipad. This is the Alesis Strike Multipad. I've been pretty happy with it, figuring it out. I got this in 2019 or early 2020, not long after they came out, and it's worked pretty well. Any questions, just let me know. I'll answer the best I can. This case I got off of Amazon for $37. It fits mixer, cables, DI box. For the multipad, I use the Gator case. Bought this extra. It's got a nice pouch here in the front. I can put all kinds of things in, and travels pretty well too.